I have for a long time been quite hesitant to not talk about myself, really, but more the thing about talking about myself in first person. What I mean by that is that I often try to avoid saying me and I did this, and why I started doing it this way is because I felt like too many people only talked about themselves. But what evolved instead from me doing it this way was I lost a bit of myself in the process. But what I realized later is that the issue is not talking about yourself. The issue is more what's your reason for talking about yourself? Or what's your purpose? Most often than not, when I spoke to people that I felt were only talking about themselves, they were mostly doing it for a feeling of trying to look a certain way and trying to get their own sense of self justified in a way. And I realized that's more the issue I had. I have no problem with talking about myself or people talking about themselves. More the issue of why people choose to talk about certain things. So I think I found a more calming approach to all of this. I've also learned to think about conversations as a dialogue. When I spoke to people who only kept bringing up their own achievements and stuff like that, they didn't see the dialogue and they didn't see the necessary part of gaining information from the other person, which I think is vital to a conversation, since it's a conversation, it's a dialogue, it's supposed to be exchanging of information. I've learned that listening to people is so valuable for me. Not necessarily that I want answers from other people, because I rarely find that information I get is the answer I'm searching for, but it's always necessary to get a bigger picture. And the more important part of this for me, I would say, is that when I'm listening to people and also speak myself, that's when I find myself actually learning about myself. I never really have like an epiphany or something like that when I'm just sitting alone, being quiet and thinking about stuff. I always get epiphanies when having conversations with people or just talking to myself. Like right now when I'm talking into a camera. Because I find the act of saying the words and making them real, I find it being the best way of making your ideas, making your thoughts concrete. Because when you speak to someone, you can't just ramble on. You have to be precise, you have to explain what you mean. And when nobody's listening, like right now when I'm talking into the camera, or when I'm just sitting in my kitchen talking to myself, I get the same feeling of, okay, I can't say it this way because the one listening, even if there's no one listening, won't understand me right now. So I have to go back and be precise. I got a Switch a few weeks ago, mainly because I wanted one, but also to learn to spend money on myself and not feel like all the money I get has to go to food or music. So I saw this as a good lesson for myself. One weird thing, however, is that I got Animal Crossing New Horizon yesterday, and it's not supposed to be released yet. It's actually releasing the 20th, and I got it yesterday, which was the 17th. I don't know, I just went into a store and I think they messed up and just put it on the shelves already. So I kind of just bought it. I'm sorry to all you Animal Crossing fans who are waiting and have been waiting for like a decade for this game. I haven't played any of the games before this, but I'm enjoying it so far. Well, that's all I had to say about that. Let's get back into the video itself. I just want to learn more. And for me, this is a big part of learning. It's not always sitting down, reading a book and getting information, because I feel like I've done that enough already, at least for the time being. I'm not saying that I'm gonna stop reading or stop learning in that sense, but I feel like I've gotten enough information and ideas within me that are just floating around in a pot. But I haven't turned the stove on yet. I haven't started cooking with everything that I got. I got to look inside myself and see, what do I have in here? What can I use? What shouldn't I use? What can I improve on? And what is fascinating to me right now? What do I want to work on? Most often, she never felt prepared enough to step off the bus. Eyes aglaze, she longed for shackles. A purpose is hard to come by, and brute force seemed to her like the only viable option. Ongoingness for its own sake made her sick to her stomach, even though that is where she found herself. No longer 22, she existed neither here nor there, but everywhere at once. How time consumed her flesh. Though validated, she claimed the responsible. Mildew on her forehead and mold on her mind. Buried in stone. Relaxed. She. I haven't been working on music now for about 2 months due to a ever-growing feeling and fear of me having burnt out. So instead of doing what I'm supposed to be doing here, I have been trying to find ways of expressing myself through other means, because if I'm not doing anything, I won't get any better. And when I was trying to find a different way of using my creativity, I came across a typewriter at a secondhand store that was very cheap, and it actually worked. So I decided to just buy it, because why not? I felt like I needed some way of writing that was not on a computer, but still not handwritten. Because mostly I write in this little book, and since I carry this book with me all the time, it's been more of a snapshot. Oh, this was an idea I can do something with. This was a phrase that stuck in my head. It's mostly like that. Notes. It's not supposed to be something where I finalize ideas, really. So that's why I thought, maybe a typewriter could do this. But what ended up happening was that I found a completely new way of writing for me. And whilst exploring these ideas of how to use the limitations of a typewriter to my advantage, and explore what can I make here visually as well as textual. And that has been very fascinating to explore, because what happened is that I've started writing in a more improvised fashion. I sit down, take a piece of paper, and whatever idea I have, or whatever sentence or visual idea that comes up, I just begin with the piece itself. And I see it as more when it's on the page. I can't erase anything. I can't really edit what I have there. I can only add. And that's very interesting to me, to find where's the limit here when it's done, and what signifies it being done to me. Also the visual aspect, to be able to move around text, have it be just complete rows down here, be a column over there, be splatters of letters in some parts of the page. It's through representing this visually with a typewriter on the page, I've found a different way of also writing the text, which sort of combines this visual, chaotic feel with the words being more nonsensical, but also containing a lot of meaning if you want to find it. Because that's what I find when improvising, both in music but also in this. When improvising, you actually use all the things you have inside you and you throw it out into the piece you're working on. And that's what's so fascinating, because I never do any sort of writing where it's, when it's out there and it's done. I can feel this so much more, being so much more present, that everything is a part of me here. Then when I compose, I feel so genuine. And that's a great feeling to have, while also producing a lot. That's mostly my explanation of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, but not really what it is. Because I kind of want to save that until I feel a bit more done with it.
I write till get where the war is over, send my cinders home to mother. They gave me a medal for my valor, letting trumpets spit the stood of power. They say side when nobody is, 'cause nobody is. Come sit right here and sleep while I slip, poison in your ear. We're waiting on a telegram to give us news of the fall. I'm sorry to report, dear Paris, it's burning after all. We've taken to the streets in open rejoice, revolt, and we are dancing up at World's Fair Paris. It's burning after all. Enclosed in this letter, there's a picture, black and white, for your refrigerator. Sticks and stones have made me smarter. It's words that cut me under my armor. They say I'm on your side when nobody is, 'cause nobody is. Come sit right here and sleep while I slip, poison in your ear. We're waiting on a telegram to give report, dear Paris. It's burning after all. We've taken to the streets in open rejoice, revolt, and we are dancing up like walls, fair Paris. It's burning after all. Dance, poor people, dance and drown. Dance, fair Paris, to the ground. Dance, poor people, dance and drown. Dance, fair Paris, ashes now. Dance, poor people, dance and drown. Dance, fair Paris, to the ground. Dance, poor people, dance and drown. Dance, fair Paris, ashes now. Dance, poor people, dance and drown. Dance, fair Paris, to the ground. Dance, poor people, dance and drown. Dance, fair Paris, ashes now.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.